How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another Rage Shadow Legends video here on the channel. And for the first time in, I'd say since last year, we have got the man himself in Mr. Hell Hades. How's it going, bro?
Yeah, I'm doing really good, man. Really good. Yeah, busy, but all things fun and positive. So, yeah, looking forward to this.
Yeah,
I can't
so,
believe it's been a year, by the way. Damn.
so we did Meet the Creator series just before we went to Vegas, right? So
Yeah.
I think that was the last one. So
Damn. Well, long overdue. Long overdue.
yeah, well, we just came back from the karaoke in London. How's your voice doing?
Like, I could not record for a couple of days. My voice was stretched.
Yeah.
But it was fun though, right? It was fun night.
Yeah, I was like shriveled in a corner, like, oh, I'm not doing this, And then before I knew it, I was
You
singing
did.
Frozen and everything, man. It was all going off.
Yeah, man, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, but anyway, guys, in terms of this video today, it's actually going to be a two-part one. So I'll leave Mr. Hell Hades one in the description below. And it's going to be for the most underrated epics today, and then underrated legendaries for Hell Hades channel. So do you want to kick us off with, who do you think is one of the most underrated ones in 2024?
Yeah, so I think this one, I wonder if people are going to see this one coming nowadays, because I think Skimfost from the Demon Spawn is like one of the most underrated, awesome epics. It is a void epic, but
Yeah.
I used this guy in a free-to-play, not this year, but actually last year. And honestly, like just like hard carried my account. He's got tons of turn meter stuff going on. So he's got his A3 where basically he steals 100% turn meter from the enemy. So on stuff like Spider, stuff like Fire Knight, if it's like normal Fire Knight, loads of the Doom Tower bosses, this is really effective. He also transfers debuffs from him to a target at the same time as well, which is quite cool. His A1 does drop speed and some turn meter drop as well, potentially. And then he's got an AoE decrease attack on the A2, which, again, for a lot of bosses is just really good. Ice Golem's really solid. And yeah, I found, when I first pulled him on that free-to-play series, I was like, he seems like he's okay. But actually, he's like crazy good.
Yeah.
Like really solid in a ton of content. So, yeah, I think people overlook him, but he's actually just really good. Like really good champion, and from an epic coming into a ton of different PvE bosses, I think he's solid.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, for me, the main area I used him for a long time was Astranix the Dark Fae, because he's just snowballing,
Astranix as well,
stealing term meter. And if you actually do it on certain ones, obviously it's capped on certain bosses, but, stealing 100% effectively makes this a 2-turn cooldown, and you're just cycling and cycling. It's bonkers, man. So, yeah, I'd agree. He's still...
Especially when you put that decreased speed out there as well. So you've got those two things together. There's so many bosses where they just did not get a turn, like, because of this guy. And like you say, he's stealing the turn meter. That's such a big difference, because it means he's pretty much getting back to another turn almost straight away.
Yes, you
it's
go.
Really cool.
Because that combination of, you can kind of open up with this, and then you can lead into this one, kill all your mirror copies in the Dark Fae. So, yeah, he's really strong for players that don't have, like, I don't know, Cold Heart or something.
Yeah.
Well, first one for me, actually, this is an interesting one, because I actually had to up the ratings on the website, because Ash was telling me off, like, YSC, what are you guys doing over there for this champion? So, we brought him up. In hindsight, I looked at it, and it's going to be Tagore. Now, I've always liked Tagore, but we had him at a 3, right? And I thought, let me just have a look at all the different epic revivers we have. And when breaking it down, there isn't a crazy ton that does an AoE one. And I was like, okay, so now where does he fit in comparison to them? And I think he sits just below Ursula de Morna, or in that kind of realm for me. Maybe top 2 epic revivers.
Yeah, okay. What did you push his rating to?
So we got him
when you changed it up?
We've got him at a 4 now.
A 4, okay.
Got him at a 4, yeah, in comparison to
I've got to be honest, I've not really used this guy.
Yeah,
like it's not someone that's really been on my radar. So what was the kind of like thinking then for pushing him up?
Yeah, so it's basically the 3-turn cooldown, increased speed with a full-out heal for everybody in the same ability. And you can use this in clan boss speed tunes, like how we use Cloud Beast Feeder or something.
Yeah, true, yeah.
We could use this in the Hydra boss if you need an increased speed option. We've actually got this revival, which brings them back with a shield equal to his HP, 20%. So even though that you're only getting a 30% HP revival, that shield on top, because it's based on himself, effectively makes this like they're super tanky off the jump, right, on a 5-turn
Pretty
as well.
chunky, yeah. That's nice.
Then we got an increased defense coming out from the A1 on your lowest current HP champion, and a damage reduction here on all allies with 50% HP or less by 10%. So if you get smacked by like Wrath or something, you know, you just got a bit of time to survive those hits with a HP universal aura. And I thought, do you know what? In the grand scheme of things for revivers, I think he's very strong, like to carry plays from early game into mid game or even some late game scenarios as well.
Like you said, there's not many epics that will do a full team revival, which
Mhm.
is, I imagine for Hydra, actually really good. You know,
Yeah.
any speed manipulation for Hydra is good as well. Yeah, okay, nice.
Yeah, actually,
he was not on my radar, so that's always cool when you see someone that's kind of like different to ones you picked out.
yeah, I was actually just going to go into revivers here. So we click revivers and we go down to the epics like Godsey Canary, single target. I think Sachi does kind of, you have to kill somebody for it.
Yeah.
Melgariz revives 2 random allies. Same with Rector Draft, it's single stuff. So the only ones is basically Ursula the Mourner and Tagore that I've got on my account after 5 years.
Yeah.
So
because even Ugo is very conditional team revive, right? So
yeah, Ugo's condition. I'd say Cardinal is pretty good. Wirren on the Silken's pretty nice as well, but I definitely feel like he sits above some of those other ones.
Interesting. Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's cool.
So
like that.
who we got next here?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with a dwarf,
Mhm.
and we're gonna pick out Morag.
I just did a video on Morak. We love her.
Did you? Yeah, I love Morag, man. Like I didn't. So I wasn't really feeling Morag when she first came out, and I was like, oh, okay, you know, the ally attack on the A3 is only with 2 random allies. Doesn't feel that strong. But I used her in that clan boss competition.
You don't have to remind me. You don't have to remind me out of everybody. Oh, I forgot. I literally had.
You won that one. You were in that one, weren't you?
Yeah. Literally, I had Ash on the channel last week, right? And we did a Morag guide on it. And I was bringing it up. I was like, the first time I heard about this is Hell Hades whooped me in the clan boss draft because of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so the first time I heard about Morag was like, I was watching this Ash video while we were doing that clan boss competition. And I was like, what's going on with this Morag? And basically, she's bringing like strengthen for your team. It's so rare on an epic to have this level of strengthen for your whole team for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. So this was big. The ally attack obviously gives us more damage, and she hits really hard, right? So she just hits hard.
Yeah.
And she's also got this counter attack when hit whilst under strengthen. So you get a lot of A1s away. I just found that she does a lot of damage, and she's also protecting your team. It's just, she's a great champion. I use her a lot in Sintranos. Like if she's available in those epic teams, because her AoE hits so hard on the A2, I just find like she's one of the best ways to clear waves, and because she's a defense-based champ, she's got great survivability as well. So yeah, Morag definitely came like left field for me, and even on that competition, she increased my damage by so much in that clan boss run that I could not call her out. So
yeah, no, she's actually my most wanted alongside Whisper for a +4. So right now I've got a 5-star blessing and I got a 2-star empowerment.
Yeah, I have got only one champion that's +4. Like I just fed probably about 7 million epics in this.
Do you know what it is? It's those champion training events, right? For all these fusions.
Yeah, man, they just rinsed us dry. Like, we didn't think we'd need them. Brutal.
It's brutal.
Who's your next one, man?
Next one. I've actually got quite a few here, but I'm trying to stick it down to 5. So who really comes out on top? Do you know what? We actually had Grouching Grandpa swing into my stream yesterday, and I had this on the list as well. And when he said it in the stream as well, I was like, okay, I'm going to put this on in the list now. So it's going to be Golden Reaper. I think Golden Reaper is criminally underrated in this day and age. And what it comes down to, if I briefly move out of the way, is 111 base speed. That is bonkers for an epic champion. But we got an increased speed and a 20% turn meter fill on all allies on a 3-turn cooldown, by the way, which is very strong. And then we've got an AoE decrease attack and decreasing of turn meter as well, if they're not under decrease attack. And then we've got a very similar A1 to Grand Oak Pardrake, who's a legendary champion, because 50% chance of decreasing the cooldown of random skills on allies. And it's like, how can you not love Golden Reaper? Like, she is really strong, man.
I think that A1 puts people off using her because of, if you're doing like a specific speed tune and then like random people are getting their skills decreased, then And that's why like endgame players don't really use her. But actually, I got her again. This free to play just gone. I had her and I used her everywhere. Like I used her ahead of the high cartoons and stuff because getting your skills back early, if you're just running like random teams, is really valuable. Yeah, so I agree, man. Like I underrate her. I always say like if you got high cartoon, why would you build out a Golden Reaper? But using her, she's just got a different kit. She's not the same champ. That's
even
the
in
thing.
like arena for progression, like for anyone that doesn't have an arbiter, let's just say you got a Sun Wukong, you've got an Amans the Magnificent, you've got a Speed Aura somewhere else because she doesn't bring that in. You can still use her as your main turn meter booster. Like that's a very very strong form of manipulation there. So I've been underestimating her for a long time. I was like, do you know what? Golden Reaper fits in today. Unconventional pick.
Nice, nice. Okay. Well, I've got one next that you would never have called out. Okay, so let's go into the Old Green Tribes.
Ooh.
And we're going to look at Old Gruckus.
Ooh, I like Old Gruckus, but you're right. I wouldn't have put it on the list personally.
Like his kit. So I was just going through earlier. I was just looking through some kits of Epics, and I was like, this guy is never spoken about.
Yeah.
But he's got a triple hit A1 with a chance to put Leech out, which is great for Fire Knight, great for just like general boss content. He's got a decreased speed A2, also with a chance to drop turn meter. So again, good for single target boss stuff. And then he's got an AoE decrease attack A3, which, in stuff like Ice Golem is probably the most important debuff. So I'm not saying he's going to suddenly get into like everybody's teams, but I just feel like he's got loads in his kit, which is just really, really helpful. He's great for Fire Knight. He's great for a bunch of bosses where you just want that kind of like speed down on the boss and decrease their damage. And then he brings a speed aura for dungeons as well, which is pretty solid. Like I just think he's not the best epic in the world, but he's definitely massively underrated. Like there's tons of content where he just kind of like slips in and could be good. I don't think it's because of a small head or what, but just like
no,
don't seem
I agree.
to rate him.
So when I was doing the ratings for this guy, I actually thought it was actually when I was doing Amius. He came out as one of the best epics in the game for Amius de Luna Archon because decreased attack and heal reduction combination on a 3-turn cooldown. Like this is so very powerful, especially in certain rotations. But I also used him in the faction games for Deadwood Jedi because I had the Ogre in Tribes, remember? And
what content did you use him for in that?
I used him for spiders for the manipulation part. So a decreased speed, turn meter reduction, a bit of leech to heal by the damage inflicted. I felt like he was a bit of those unconventional picks once again. Like he can fit into so many cool areas if you need it, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, nice.
Old Druckus. I never thought that one was coming today.
Old Druckus, yeah.
But do you know what? Whilst we're in this faction, there's someone here that I love. He hits like an absolute truck and he also looks like one. Seachoke.
Seachoke, yeah. I almost wrote him on my list, actually. Yeah, he's fun.
This guy is so fun, smacks so hard, and actually very strong for some endgame uses as well, such as Centranos or the Dark Fae. What it comes down to is increased crit rate, increased crit damage, and decreased speed, which is, we like decreased speed out here. Increased attack on himself, whilst also a decreased defense and some nice damage all in one ability.
Yeah.
So for players that's looking for a decreased defense option or some damage at the same time, Seachoke can definitely fulfill that role. And also some turn meter reduction here on that A1 to control stuff like, I don't know, the Fire Knight or the Dark Fae and progression. So the way that I used to use him in Dark Fae is you open up with this one, you kill your mirror copies, get your decreased defense out. You then lead into this one, place that decreased speed with some turn meter reduction, and just use the A1, similar to an Allure. Like, it's not
nice.
It's not a crazy value, but if you just need that little extra oomph, Seachoke can definitely do all those roles for you, for sure.
And like, just to reiterate, he hits so hard on that AoE. Like, the AoE is a real smack, and people don't call him out, I think, because he's quite squishy, but he's just, he's a high damage dealer for sure. Looks sweet as well, by the way.
Do you use...
really?
Yeah, he is. He doesn't even fit on the screen, man. It's like, I want to see the top of his weapon, man.
Yeah. I only use him now in Centranos on my account, but he's mainly because he clears waves so easy. Like he's absolutely smacks.
There's sometimes it's like secret rooms, Ogrins only, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake, who can I use here? And I just see Seachoke. I'm like, yes, it's finished. All right, Here we go next here.
Okay, so next one we're gonna go with. There's two that I'm kind of like in between, but I think I'm gonna go with the Barbarians.
Okay.
And we're gonna go with one of the sisters, Alika.
I'm sure Scratch is gonna be proud of you for this one.
I mean, she still loves a book. Like she loves to read, like her sisters. Like they're in the library all day long,
Yeah.
every day. They grew up, in the university.
He's making up his own law because there's definitely not one here.
So the main reason is she just does tons of damage. Like she's quite plain, but her A2 ignoring 50% target's defense. Basically against any boss, it smacks really hard. Her AoE as well on the A3 there. Basically a good chance to reduce cooldown of enemy skills. So if you're going through stuff like Doomtail Waves or Faction Wars, she can reduce the cooldown, but also she's going to like pummel them real hard. And I mean, she's got this A1 with the extra hit chance, which basically any champion that's got this like conditional extra hits,
like a Rotos, right?
They just generally hit so freaking hard. Like if it's a bit like Fushan or anyone who's got one of these, you might get another hit. They code it as if you're never going to get that hit for some reason. Like so when you do, it's just like crazy damage.
Yeah.
But yeah, mainly she's underrated mainly because she's just a crazy damage dealer. And it's a shame her sisters are not that good because a passive is basically irrelevant. But yeah, I definitely think there's some use in her in actually a ton of content. Either as your like clan boss just damage dealer or as someone that's controlling waves with the A3.
Yeah, I'm guilty of this one. I knew how good she was. I've just never used her. Like never, not even Faction Wars, anything. I've got her built, never tried her out. So we'll see one day.
One day, yeah.
One day. What are we down to now? I think I've got two left.
Is this our fifth one?
I think your next one's fifth. I'm on my fourth right now because you kicked it off.
Yeah.
Oh man, do I go for Hoskarul here? He was on my list. There's so many options. What have I done?
Would like it if you went for Hoskarul.
I do love Hoskarul. Yeah, okay. I'll put Hoskarul in there. Okay. So Hoskarul can actually hit very, very hard. And fun fact, guys, he was a fusion around a year or two ago. And I actually think that they should bring back another epic fusion. Do you know, like, just to soften the blow from all of these back-to-back Legos every 2 seconds, give us a nice 1 or 2 week fusion for an epic, make it easy going, and give us a nice epic champion, I think is overdue, right?
You know the trouble, though? So whenever they've done epic fusions, with the exception of maybe one, they make them just as hard as like legendary fusions. So it's like, okay, I don't know if I want to put all the effort in for this guy. If it was, let's tone it back.
Yeah.
And it's like a real kind of like friendly fusion. I totally agree. Like, let's have a minute to just chill. In fact, Watcher of Realms do that quite well. They bring out like an epic fusion and it's just, you could probably get 2 copies of it.
It's a bombardment of resources. It's like right now we've got this 2x sacreds coming on. There's like Titan events everywhere, fusions. I'm like, I can't. My brain, it just can't.
Yeah, we're about to get Hero Soul. Like, yeah, it's
hard, man. But anyway, Hoskarul. So we've got a removing of stun from all allies and also a 60% increased defense, which is pretty nice with the increased res. And honestly, I know this is all speculation, but I've been saying this for nearly 2 years since Hydra released, right? I think the next Hydra head is going to be a stun mechanic.
Or stun, yeah. I mean, they're meant to have released a new head.
Yeah.
A while ago.
And do you know what it is?
There's
champions such as Hoskarul and there's Rorik Wormbane that kind of bring in these immune to stun debuffs. And I was thinking in my head, where else in the game would we want to have anything immune to a stun debuff? It makes no sense. Like, who stuns us? There's no bosses that stun us.
Yeah, it's not really bosses. Maybe some Faction War stuff, but...
Yeah, so I was just thinking... they had 2 fusions back to back then anyway that was immune to stun. I just clicked in my head like, maybe this kind of removing of stun and it could be a good play. But anyway, AoE stuns, hits very hard as well, some turn meter reduction there, and another stun. So he's all about the stuns, all about the damage. Great for CC. I'm just a huge fan of Hoskarul personally.
Yeah, I mean, his A2, the stun mechanic on his A2 is really strong. And the reason why it's so good, so epics don't really get AoE stuns, do they? Like, there's not many epics that have got a high chance to stun.
Archmage Helmet probably next best in line.
Yeah, Archmage, and there's the guy with the big fuzzy blue hair, Buren Giri, has got...
I was thinking there for a second, is there like a clown that came into raid?
But yes, there's not many of them, and actually, stuns are good because you still get your full damage away, versus something like a freeze or whatever. So, you got daisies, they just wake up. Freezes, they take less damage. Stuns, you just kind of like go full on. So
I'd say Miscreant Monster as well kind of fits in that category, right? Yeah. In the top 5 Miscreant Monsters.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, one more then. One more. I've got a choice of 2, really.
Well, I guess you could do one honorable mention at the end if they didn't quite make the list, I guess.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll just throw the honorable mention out, which is going to be Anchorite. Like Anchorite, I think
Nice.
is a very cool epic. Who I don't know, man. Like there's just so many different use cases for him, but mainly in those kind of like cool clan boss teams where you're trying to like do buff extension or Hydra teams. He's bringing some good buffs on the A3 for your whole team as well. He's got some healing going on. I just think he's underrated, and he's actually got some pretty solid healing in his kit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Anchorite's my honorable mention, but we're going to go with Aox in
Ooh, I'm happy you said this
the
one. Let's go.
Blizzards.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I still use Aox in my Iron Twins team. Used him
Same.
for
Yeah.
forever. Like it's just so valuable. I used to use him in Clan Boss teams as well. He's just underrated. He's got like a nice A2. So the A2 has basically got a decent heal to it on a 3-turn cooldown. But the A3 has got some nice debuffs as well. So you've got that kind of like decrease attack on all enemies. I guess the biggest thing which is underrated about him is his passive. So every time he's hit, he's got a chance to just increase the duration of debuff counts.
Yeah.
And I'd say he's got a fairly weak source poison on his A1, but as long as you're pairing him with other people that have got good chance to land debuffs. So I use him with Geomancer in Iron Twins. And basically every time the Iron Twins hits you, he's just extending that burn from Geo. And in Clan Boss, if you're using him, if you've got poisons out there, every time he gets hit, he's got a chance to extend the poisons up. Just makes him really valuable, actually. Especially, I'd say Clan Boss is probably outside of Iron Twins the best place because he gets that decreased attack out or decreased crit rate, and it just extends it up. So really cool.
Yeah, no, he's a very strong one. Like when I was in the free to play, he was actually one of my most wanted. I was like, oh, if I can just get an Aox, it'll be a game changer.
Really
yeah, he's really strong. All right, final one. Oh man. Do you know what I'm gonna
so many possibilities, right? There's so many.
Okay, my honorable mention is gonna be from the Skinwalkers. I know. Is it? Where's he from? Is he Skinwalker? No, I think he's a Ogrin. Is he? He's not. Ooh, Skinwalker. Oh, I forgot where he's from, and this is why how underrated he is. Oh, no, I think he's undead. He's undead. So Ostrox.
This is what I do. Oh, okay, yeah. A few people have been talking about this guy.
Ostrox is so unbelievably underrated. I don't even think there's a video on YouTube yet. So it's something I'll be planning for the future. And what it comes down to is I think that he is better than Umbral Enchantress for the Hydra boss. Like they've got an AoE, block buffs, very similar, exact same skill to Umbral Enchantress, right? That we're all aware of. 3-turn duration, by the way. So that is never falling off, especially being Void Affinity. But the main thing is, with Umbral Enchantress, we actually get a block active skills on ourselves if we place the provoke. So we never really use that provoke skill, right? If you can't get around on time.
Yeah.
But what this guy does, he does the removing of one random debuff on all allies and places an increased accuracy on a 4-turn cooldown. Now, why this is very strong for some endgame teams and progression is, let's just say you've got the high resistance, you've got the decreased accuracy, it's all happy days, you're resisting everything, right? The true fear is always going to get through because you cannot block it unless you got intercept or something, right? Whoever gets true feared, you just take this off, or if you get provoked from Wrath, take it off. It's just a nice little safety feature to keep you going, but also transfer effects here on the A1, as well as whenever an enemy attempts to place a debuff on this champion, has a chance to reflect it back to the attacker. So even if...
Yeah, that's quite cool. That's cool, actually.
There was sometimes against Head of Torment, I'd put out the block buffs, and then he would just stop the true fear on himself. It was like, pretty nice. But I like him. I think he was a nice honorable mention for sure, worth looking into.
Yeah, as I say, a few people mentioned him and said like I don't talk about him at all. So yeah, definitely an interesting one. I like that A3 actually, just like cleaning off buffs, debuffs.
Yeah, it's pretty decent. But I think my other one is it's between Philia or I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna say Ragnar Goglim.
Ah, okay, Ragnar. Yeah,
I'll tell you why I think he makes the underrated list. He's been known for years. I'm sure you're aware. All of those unkillable teams, phenomenal. But the one thing that we always had an issue with that when we didn't have presets was this spot here because he sacrifices his HP. It was like it only kind of fits into unkillable stuff.
So
right?
Is he going to kill himself?
Yeah, but I think because we now have team presets and we can now block off this ability, we now have a increased attack on himself if you don't have increased attack in your team, decreased defense and weaken like a Raz and Scarhide, and a leech. Like, this is a very strong combination of skills. And because we don't have to worry about this anymore, like, I don't know, man. I never see this guy being used. And I think he's one of the best epics in the game for Clan Boss.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. Because I always overlook him because of that A2.
Yeah.
And you're right. You can just turn it off. Literally
Yeah, and
just turn it off
it
now.
changes his kit completely. It's like,
Yeah.
even in traditional teams, for someone that doesn't have a Raz and you've just come into the game and you pull this guy, I think he should be any player's most used if they don't have a Razin or something, because that leech allows you to move away from that lifesteal gear that loads of players sit in, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. And it's a good chance as well, like 60% chance to place that on an A1.
A1, that's going to be consistent. If you've got some ally attack in there, that's never falling off, or counter attack or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And even this, like,
Cool one, actually. Yeah, it's a cool shout out. Yeah. I overlook it myself because of that A2, but you're right, just turn it off.
because there is so many times when we're doing like these clan boss videos, and I'm thinking of like, oh, who can I put in as a budget option? And I feel like Ragnar can go into so many teams for videos. Whoops, it's went full screen there. So yeah, I guess
Awesome.
that was the list for today, guys. We'd love to hear in the comment section below, who do you think is the most underrated epics in 2024? Appreciate it, Mr. Hades, for coming on today. Anything you want to say before we wrap up?
I mean, let's let the legendaries loose.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk some legendaries. But yeah, no, it's been really fun, man. Awesome coming on, and hopefully, like, people just kind of realize that epics can do a lot in this game. Like,
Yes.
properly look through the kits of your epics, because you will find that you've got some gems sitting in there for sure. But yeah,
100%.
appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, guys, we are going to be heading over to Hell Hades' channel now, so I'll leave that in the description below once again. We wish you an amazing rest of your week, and I'll see you on a video soon. Peace.